Well, I'm sure this project will speak to people. It'll probably be convicting. It is to me. I don't know. I read the pitch of this, and I mean, you might look at the poster and think, oh, it's kind of funny, Avocado Toast, a bit unusual. And this project actually has a name that's adjacent of other comedy projects from what I was able to see. So it seems to be a pretty popular name, but I haven't looked at this project yet, deeply. We're going to watch the trailer in a minute. But like I said, it has a funny pitch. Again, it's marketed as a comedy, at least that's how it's termed on IMDb, and I can certainly see that edge. But it has a level of conviction, too. This is what it says according to IMDb for Avocado Toast. Avocado Toast is a story about Adam, a hardworking, plays-by-the-rules family man who risks everything he has by experimenting with millennialism. Doesn't this project, if you're a millennial, make you feel great? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. The term millennial, I always get mixed up between Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, millennial. It's like, I don't know if I'm a millennial or not. I have tendencies, certainly, to being a millennial if I'm not a millennial myself. I think a lot of us, feel that energy these days in general society. I just don't know, because sometimes, I'll look up, what are the age or the year brackets in regard to being termed a millennial, and they're varied all over the place. So I'm like, I don't even have a clear sense on where I register generationally. But I feel, in many ways, in the general society I live in, and, the way that I've adapted to the world and, my environment, then I do have tendencies to be a millennial, and, that term has a bit of a stink eye. I understand in some regards. That's part of the reason I don't know if maybe anybody else took this term, before me to task, but I've sort of assumed the identity of millenniacs just to separate myself from the idea of being a millennial. Because again, we have a bit of a bad perception, regard to those of us who are attributed with that word. Even if perhaps, again, the translation of what millennial is constituted by, given the years, is different from person to person. It's a general sentiment that I understand is, very active in my life and probably others as well. I see it in general society today, the millennial attitude, as it's spoken of. Again, a negative perception. But I would imagine with this movie, it's going to play it kind of, it's going to, I'm sure, showcase the grievances for a comedic side. But, maybe it'll be fun. This is not in any way, my description to unintentionally throw shade at people. I say this as somebody, again, who's self-attesting to having millennial tendencies. And in many ways, I'm very critical of myself because of it. It's part of the reason, again, I chose the term millenniacs. Because I'm like, well, it's where I desire to be if I'm not already there. Or how much work I've done to try and depart from the millennial field. It sounds like a strong pitch. I think the comedy direction sounds pretty interesting. I'm endeared by that. And the poster, paints a humorous twist, of course. Let's see what the movie has to offer with a first trailer. I believe the film, how I came across it, I believe, is because the movie is, because it's a 2021 release. I'm covering this a bit late. The film, I'm pretty sure if you feel inclined to watch it after you watch the trailer, maybe you're just brought in by that pitch alone. It is available to watch. I forget the specific channel. I'll superimpose it here later for, reference's sake. But it is available, I believe, to watch online on YouTube for free. I'm pretty sure. But let's give a look at the trailer and at least gauge the project on that level. Here we go. Avocado Toast.
Millennial. A person reaching young adulthood in the early 21st century who grew up on computer technology and is often referred to as the me.
You're a millennial, right?
What?
I love my family. I put up with my job.
It bothers me so much that there's all these dumb millennial kids just doing whatever they want.
I realized I hate millennials so much because I'm jealous of them.
So I am going to become a millennial.
Oh boy.
Oh, Father, I am here to prepent.
You're here to what?
Prepent.
Prepent is a business thing.
I beg to differ. I'm literally doing it right now.
If I want a piece of cake,
I'm not sure how
I'm gonna
how
eat
it works.
a piece of cake for breakfast. No more being Mr. Responsible.
Does this little game include other women?
Oh no, this is no game. So is the steak vegan here? I want to buy this car.
Let's set you up on Tinder.
Oh no, I am not ready for that.
come on. Years from now, you don't want to tell your kids you only went part millennials?
It's endearing. Again, I see many of the aspects in the behavior today that I am a bit of a
This whole
critic
doing whatever
of
I
in
want
general
thing is
society,
really
partly
working
because
for
I
me.
saw them manifesting in myself.
Just so I have this straight, you coming out as a millennial is the same as me coming out as gay.
I knew you'd get it.
You're so brave.
It's an endearing comedy. I find it funny, again, in particular, because it's quite convicting. It's a self-aware movie. Right? Somebody putting... That's a bit of an unusual direction. Somebody putting themselves in the position of being a millennial, especially when it seems that they've got everything together. And the way they started that trailer with the definition, the me generation. It's true. Hashtag adulting. It's a pretty nicely presented comedy. I'm sure it's a little cheaper to make given the presentation. I don't say that in any way to be mean to it. You know, it seems to be a lighter budget, but I think it's balanced by a good presentation. You know, it's a competent release, at least from what I'm seeing it. A good script, good lead actor too. He definitely embodies the energy of a millennial. Pre-pent. Again, I'm a Christian. I know very well that that doesn't exactly work. Okay, I get it. You know, it's played as fiction. But the traits, there is a lot of behavior here that I see in what's attributed as the millennial model today. It is consistent. It has a very realistic baseline. It'll be funny to watch somebody put themselves into that role. I don't know, because I mean, I've come from the opposite side. I'm, you know, the person who tried to extract himself out of it. So, it should be an interesting release, I think. And like I said, you know, it's pretty accessible if you want to watch it. I believe it's on YouTube for free. You can probably watch it another way if you so choose. I mean, I haven't looked to see if there's ever watch options. It's available on Prime Video if you want to rent it. Or watch it. I think it's... Well, you can buy it from free $3.99, and I think that's the only other option it lists. But I did see it was available, like I said, on YouTube. I forget the channel name exactly, but it is existing on the platform last I checked, and I will, of course, reference that here, like I already did earlier. I'll maybe do it again, so that you can get a clear vision on where to go if you feel so inclined to watch it. I think it's a pretty well-delivered comedy. You know, again, I think the acting's pretty stellar. I've not seen any of these actors before. They're all new faces to me. Maybe it doesn't have the strongest IMDb rating. It's at 4.4 out of 10. Maybe this was very convicting for millennials, so that's kind of maybe what gave it some chagrin, at least when it popped up. Or maybe, you know, at least the impression I get from the trailers, it seems like a pretty fun comedy. And I do like lower budget films or stuff of an indie feel. This is, you know, it's not like a major film release. There isn't a massive budget, I can clearly tell. But it seems endearing by the energy of the piece, by the pitch, and the performances. The performances seem quite fun. And as somebody who is a millennial, again, I don't know. I don't know if I'm a millennial or if I'm not. I just know I'm kind of assumed by it to be that by many circles. I'm just not sure if it's a correct attribution. Again, what constitutes a millennial? I want some concrete answers as to the year parameters. 1997. If it's within that time frame, I guess I'm a millennial. Or am I something separate? Feel free to clarify down below if you're a little more informed than I am on some general dates. Because, I mean, again, I hear pretty much every date thrown around, and I'm like, I don't know, you know, how to best judge myself. I know that it's very easy for me in the world that I live in, and plus, you know, how I developed as a kid into an adult. I did, and I recognize it in particular because I am a very hyper-observant person. I'm very analytical by nature for many reasons. I tend to hyper-analyze society quite often in my general surroundings, the people that come into, you know, close relationship with me. I probably sounds weird, but I only hyper-analyze, especially right now, to self-evaluate and to do a comparison to understand where I'm at in place of the world, and perhaps, because, you know, you hear that phrase, other people see the worst parts of yourselves. I mean, I would imagine, you know, I'd agree with that completely, because we are selfish creatures by nature, so we're predisposed to thinking of ourselves, you know, as all together and put together, even if we, you know, may realize we're not. That's kind of the way we want to be seen, and perhaps some of our flaws get masked by that rosy self-perception. I tend to compare myself a lot with other people and do an analysis, just my general surroundings, to understand, you know, what are perhaps, especially around people that I come across that are far more successful, what are the traits in me that might register me as as being affected by the millennial pressure. I watch this trailer and I see many traits that I've recognized, you know, and reasonably have kept at bay. Again, I'm not trying to come across, in any way to be like some, holier than thou person here. Oh, I have my flaws. It's a journey to try and, again, become millenniax. Maybe I've started a movement by that term. I don't know. But, I mean, that's just the way I've seen myself for the last couple of years. It's an endearing project. I think it'll be a fun watch. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. You might have a completely different opinion than me. Or maybe you're kind of in the same boat that I am, where I'm like, I watch this and, I see the very realistic connections. Again, feel free to contribute your thoughts, if you so wish. I'm endeared to watch it, we'll see how strong it is of a comedy. I mean, it could, warrant that 4.4 out of 10. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe the humor, won't exactly be to the taste or the content level for everybody. I did see some jokes. It might be taking, a bit too far. We'll see. Everybody's got a different threshold when it comes to content for many different reasons. So we'll see exactly, where it maybe results in with time. But, I'd say it has a better reach given the YouTube upload. Many people can watch it for free if you'd so wish. We'll see appreciation builds of time beyond just, maybe the Amazon showcase of where it was previously, or actually where it is on now. But it's getting a broader reach. And if you don't cover it a bit late, sometimes you find out films later down the road that might be, competent releases. And I see traits that I would believe with Avocado Toast in some capacities point to a promising picture. Again, we'll see with time, and we'll see if, as more people come to the film, but at least from what I can gauge with the trailer, it looks like a strong comedy. I certainly appreciate it on the merits of what I've seen presented. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.